Welcome everyone. Hello, hello. I'm just gonna wait a couple more minutes for more people to join. Just gonna wait a couple of minutes for everyone else to join. There's a few more people coming. Just before we start, can everyone just hop in the chat box and make sure you can hear me okay and everything? Just give me a thumbs up or say okay or something. Good, 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 good. Okay. I'll give it 2 more minutes or so. 2 more minutes. Okay, welcome everyone. So after today, I've seen a lot of messages on both NASDAQ and currency side about people not knowing what to do. They have all this knowledge, but they don't know how to apply it. They don't know where to go from once they've learned everything. And I wanted to just go over some key points in terms of how to really turn your trading around. I know somebody sent a message here. If I just read it to you guys quickly. I think a lot of traders have been in this position, and I think it's important that it gets addressed early. Okay, so the issue that we're talking about comes from Josh. So he says, for me, the issue is I understand everything and I have so much knowledge and hours put into charts, but it's hard to put all of that into effect. As far as making profit, I cannot seem to grow account. I don't know if you guys know what I mean, but I feel like I'm losing so much that I don't know what it feels like to win or at least make profit. Okay, so what I wanted to do is I wanted to break this down for you. I wanted to, help you guys draw up a plan or if like a step approach of what you can do once you've learned everything. Okay, once you have this, you will be fine. Right now, you guys just have a lot of and a lot and a lot and a lot of information all absorbed, but it's time to apply it. Okay, there's somebody else says, I'm with them, I'm experiencing the same thing. And that's fine, guys. Everyone goes through this in trading. We have our good weeks, we have our bad weeks, but it's just about you have to remember the basics, right? So it's if four things worked in the beginning and it doesn't work the fifth time, why go change it for the sixth and seventh? So in the mentors last video on YouTube, they spoke about how if the strategy works for me for 4 trades and it doesn't work for me for 1 trade, it doesn't mean I'm going to change it on the sixth, right? Just because one didn't work doesn't mean you must keep changing it. And I think that's important for you guys to learn at a where you guys are now, so that it doesn't get too complicated. It doesn't, overwhelm you. Because I think right now a lot of you are feeling overwhelmed. And that comes the issue where you sit with all this information and you don't know what to do. Okay, so in this video, well, this session rather, this session also be recorded so you can go back to it. But I'm just going to break things down for you in terms of how you should go about looking for trades, how you should go about entering trades, and applying all of the knowledge that we have taught you guys. So I'm just going to share my screen here quickly. Okay, while I'm sharing my screen, I'm going to explain as well how to get better at entries as well. So once we've gone through all the basics of the step approach, I'm going to go through how to find better entries. Okay, so Just let me know that everyone can see my screen, all right? Okay, so what we're going to do is we need to break this down into methodical approach. We need to break it down into how we are going to start approaching the market when we come to it. Okay, so what we're going to do here, so this is gold. I'm going to clear the chart completely, and I'm going to start from the beginning again. Okay, so I've just joined the chart. I'm going to go to my highest time frame that I look at, which is the daily. So if we look at the daily, we can see that we are bearish, right? We've got lower highs and lower lows, and that confirms to me that we are bearish. Okay, we might even have something in this nature, but it just depends on what we see. So for now, I would say that we are definitely in a bearish trend. We're at the top of the resisting trend line, okay, if there was one. So if we just had to draw this, so you can see I'm going, firstly I'm identifying my trend, which is the major trend, which is the daily. Okay, once I've done this, you should immediately have in your head that you are either A, looking for buys, or C or B, looking for sells. Okay, that's probably the most important thing, is you got to go with the overall trend. You cannot just go with what you see on the 15-minute or the 30-minute or 1 hour. You should go to the highest time frame that you're comfortable with. For me, it's either the 4 hour or the daily. The daily time frame, it is bearish, I'm looking for sells. If it's bullish, I'm looking for buys. Okay, but this doesn't mean you must forget about trends in trends, right? So you can see we've got a bearish trend here, but we've got this very bullish trend. Okay, and we just have to remember that trends in trends apply. So right now we're probably going to come back down to the supporting trend line. Okay, but we sell high and we buy low. So today I caught the sells on gold. I'll go over that in a second, but I just wanted to give you guys a 4-step approach. So now that we have our major trend, which is on the daily, I'm going to jump down to the 4 hour, and the 4 hour will just give me a zoomed in picture of what we've seen before, right? And you can still see we are in a descending channel because we've got a higher that hasn't been reached or broken. So therefore we are going down. Once we have this is when we should look for selling opportunities. This is when you should apply all the price action strategies to look for a position that will benefit you. Okay, so it doesn't mean you can't buy this, you can buy, but the overall direction should be sells. Okay, right now I think we are going to be going for sells, but that's to come next week or during NFP. Okay, so now we have a trends in trend situation over here. So if we got this trend, which is going up, and we've got another trend there. So now we have a bullish trend in a bearish trend, right? So this means that we should be looking for buying opportunities. We buy at the resisting trend, the supporting trend line, and we sell at the resisting trend line. Okay, guys, excuse how untidy this is. I'm just trying to do this while I explain. Okay, so this should be the first indication. We are looking for sells, but we are at the support, so therefore we must buy, or we're at the resistance, therefore we must sell. Okay, then it comes the time to look for the right opportunities. So this is where your double tops, double bottom, bullish flag, bearish flag, bullish engulfing, all of that come into play. Okay, and you just have to dive a bit deeper. So as you can see on the 4 hour, we sort of had a head and shoulders over here, which is what led to the sells. So if we dive a little bit deeper here into where price is at the moment, right, we can see we sort of have a nice neckline. We have, we have a break of the neckline, the head, the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder, and the neckline has been broken. So this first was the first indication for the sells today. If I just draw this here quickly. So you guys just have to simplify it for yourself. You have to break it down, find the trend, find the overall direction, what you should be looking for, identify if there's trends in trends, identify if we're at support or resistance, or if we are in between, and then go from there. So the thing with trading, a lot of people seem to don't understand, is that if people are not trading, they think they are losing money. Okay, but at the end of the day, if you are not trading, your money is safe. You're not losing anything. There's another day tomorrow, there's a day after that, there's a day after that, there's a day after that. So the opportunities are not limited. The opportunities are literally unlimited. Okay, so I've said it once, I'll say it again. Trading is 10% buying, 10% selling, 80% waiting. Okay, and I can't stress how important the waiting part is. So if it comes to sitting on your hands, if you don't see an opportunity, don't trade. It's as simple as that. Why would you give your money away to something you don't believe in, right? It's like going to the shop and then saying, can I please buy this? But they don't have it in stock, but they take the money anyway, and then you lose it. Okay, so that's just the best example I can give it. So you want to, honestly, this is your hard-earned money. You don't want to keep depositing and depositing and depositing. You want to feel what it's like to withdraw, right? So you need to learn the patience of waiting for the opportunity. Okay, so how you can do this is you can sit down and think, we have the trend, which is bearish or bullish, so we look for buying or selling. Are we near a major support or resistance? Yes, no, yes. Okay, we look for trades. Are we at support? Then we buy. If we're at resistance, then we sell. Okay, if it comes to a point where we are in the middle between support and resistance, there literally is no opportunity there unless there is a price action pattern that has formed, a bullish flag, a bearish flag, something like that. Okay, but your overall direction that you trade should come from what you see and when you're at support and resistance. I cannot explain how important the basics of support and resistance is. Okay, but this is the left shoulder that I've got here. I've got the head. We don't have a complete neckline yet. So it wasn't really a proper one, but you can see we have a nice head and shoulders here, which broke the neckline, which then led to sells. Okay, and then on top of this, there was news. On top of this, we broke the previous low of the day before. So yesterday's low, we broke it. So this all should have been indications to sell. Okay, but by looking at this, we don't know that a head and shoulder was forming. If you were looking at this live, you could have traded this just by support and resistance alone. Okay, so if I go back here quickly, if we go look at the 4 hour again. So on the 4 hour, we are in a bearish trend. So number one, we are looking for sales. Number two, we are at the top of the resisting trend line. There we're looking for sales. Number three, a head and shoulders pattern. We are looking for sales. Okay, if it was the other way around, it would be an inverted head and shoulders. We're looking for sales. And then once you dive in, so that's not even without diving in. So now we dive into the 15-minute or the 1 hour, and we have a level of support that has now become resistance that was broken. This is the fourth opportunity to enter sales. Okay, so it's literally as simple as, you guys have to think of it as a process. You know, you start here, once you've done this step, go to the next step, then the next step, then the next step. If all of them say yes, then there's your trade. You know, I know it sounds really simple, but that's really as simple as it gets. If you guys understand, can you just send a message in the chat, or must I go over something again? I don't want to overcomplicate things or, you know, go too far ahead. All good. I'm with you. All good. Okay, so you see, guys, you have all this knowledge, but now you guys need to build a plan of how you apply this knowledge. Okay, so you have this knowledge where you must identify the trends, you must identify the support and resistance, you must identify this, you must identify that. But it all comes down to, you spot your trends on a higher time frame. You look for your opportunities, a bullish trend, bearish trend, buying or selling. And it's just about waiting for the opportunity. You do not make the opportunity. Okay, that's the thing, is you have to wait. And I promise you, gold comes to those who wait. Okay, so now the next part that I'm going to, bro, is it fine if I only use support and resistance? If you only use support and resistance, it is a bit more tricky, because sometimes the market will not respect your support or your resistance zone at all, but sometimes it will. Okay, so you can't only just use support and resistance. Support and resistance plays a big part along with other things. So you can see the support and resistance played a role, yeah, with the head and shoulders. It played a role with the trend. So support and resistance is the most important, but to find entries, you have to use support and resistance, and you have to use the price action patterns that we taught you. Okay, so now I'm going to go down to finding entries. Okay, so a lot of people today ask me, how did I find my entries on gold? You know, it's, for me, it was pretty straightforward, because, you know, I have an understanding, I have a method that works for me, but I'll go through it again, right? So what I'll do is, on a 4 hour, you see, this is just one big candle. But if you go in a little bit deeper, we can sort of see where the pressure was building and then went down. Can I trade price using price action alone and ignoring news and indicators? Yeah, I personally, I don't use any indicators whatsoever. Sometimes I'll use the RSI, but that is it. I do not use indicators. You know, sometimes they give you a full signal, sometimes they jamble you, you don't know what to do. So I'd rather focus on the basics, and all I've done here is the basics, right? At the end of the day, I've walked away with the bag. I've secured the bag. I've literally just used the basics of what I was taught and how I know what works for me. Okay, so I promise you, if you understand the power of the basics of support and resistance, trend lines, trends in trends, formations, you do not need indicators. There's literally no reason to use them, but it's all, you need to find something that works for you. And if what works for you is using an indicator, then go for it. Okay, then another thing is it's very hard as a trader to ignore the news, right? Because you can have the most perfect setup, and you'll see a bullish flag, and then news will hit as soon as it breaks that bullish flag, and it will go against you. Okay, so at the same time, you should not trade the news, but at the same time, you should not ignore the news. Okay, so in this example, yeah, the news helped this a little bit. There was some positive signs for the dollar, so the dollar got strong, which is then led to gold falling. Same with AUD USD. Okay, is there any other questions quickly before I move on? So just to answer your question, can I trade using price action alone and ignore news? Yes. Okay, but do not ignore the news. Just know that there is news on certain pairs and expect some volatility to come in. So maybe before you enter the trade, just go look at, I use my FX book. It's probably the best one that I use. It gives everything nice and clear. It sort of gives you a census of what's happening on that day, right? So if we look here, you can see all of this USD news. So it's just about understanding what the news will do. So if the news is positive, then it's going to affect you. But at the same time, if it's negative, it's going to affect you. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Okay, then the next thing I'm going to dive into. They can also use Forex Factory. Yeah, Forex Factory. There's a couple that you can use. I just prefer my FX book calendar because I've got an account linked, and I can keep up to date with how my account is doing. I realized if I analyze on a 4 hour and I wait long for entry in the 1 hour. So I realized when I only analyze on the 1 hour and move to 30-minute, or just stick to 1 hour, find more entries per week on gold. Yes. So that is the good thing on gold, because it moves so much on a 15-minute time frame. There isn't really much you can see, right? If you go to the 15-minute time frame, there's just a lot and a lot and a lot. Okay, so the higher the time frame on gold, the more powerful it is. So that's the thing. So the higher the time frame, the stronger the resistance, the stronger the trend, the stronger the support. Okay, and if it breaks, the stronger it is. So if there's a supporting area, yeah, and it breaks on a 4 hour or daily, then you know it is really, really strong, that breaks. So then you should go for opportunities. How do you see if the news are positive or negative? Okay, so that's what I like about my FX book. It gives you a census. So it sort of tells you what they're expecting, and then it tells you, what it is compared to what it's expecting. So you just look at the economic performance of a country, and that will then give you the idea of what to sort of look for. So as soon as coronavirus was announced, all the economies went into lockdown. That's bad news, right? But now that everything is opening, so in the US, the news today was the employment rate, it was the payroll, and all of those were improved. So therefore, it is good. Okay, so the unemployment rate improved. So meaning there are less people unemployed this month than last month. So that means that it's better for the country, right? So it's just about thinking little bit logically about it. Sometimes I don't know if I should focus on analyzing current price or what price did before. This is a very good question. A lot of people get confused with this, but the simple answer is, will knowing what happened 2 months ago make you money now? The answer is no, right? You just have to look at where price was before to look at support and resistance areas of where you should be targeting. Okay, so if I go to an example here on GBP AUD, this was also a good trade today, right? So the only time I went back is to look for places that price might reverse or price this doesn't break through, right? So if we look at this, I traded this today. This was my final take profit up here, right? And as you can see, price went before. So the only time I'm looking at where price was before is where I'm seeing that there might be some fight between the bulls and the bears. All right, so it's just about, you only go to the back when you're looking for support and resistance zone. So this for me would have been a resistance zone because we reached an area where the market tend to reverse here. So you can see this is quite a strong one. So therefore, this was my target, right? And you can see I sort of hit target straight away because I bought off a support in a bullish trend, and therefore I rode it all the way to take profit, right? So it's just about, you use the history of price to determine where you should be targeting. So before you even enter a trade, you should know what price you are looking to exit at. So you need to have an entry strategy. You need to have an exit strategy as well. An exit strategy is very, very important. Okay, so for all I know, price could have reached this point and then reversed straight away. But in this case, it continued going up. Okay, so it's just about, you guys have all this knowledge, but sometimes I feel like it gets a bit lost because you don't know, you have so much, you don't know what to use where. Okay, I have a question on entries. How do you enter a pullback in an impulse? Do you look for certain candlesticks? Can you give a practical example? Okay, so that is a very good question. Okay, so personally, pullbacks for me, I don't trade pullbacks. I'll wait for the impulse move or a correction. The pullback is the correction in some way, but it's just about, you have to understand what price is doing at that certain time. I'll give you a practical example in a second. Let me just see. If economy good, then why NAS dropping? So NAS is a tricky one, right? It's all to do with how a country performs, it how to do not a country, the companies on the top 100 perform, right? So how the companies on the top 100 perform is they look at things on a bigger scale. I don't know how to explain it, but the fundamentals behind NAS based on the company's performance. So what I like to do is if you type in NAS 100 heat map, right, it will bring you up a heat map. It will show you everything to do if the day is red or if the day is green. Okay, and it's just about, you have to sort of understand the fundamentals behind it. So you can see today was mostly a bad day. So this could have been anything in between of some bad stock news, anything on the New York Stock Exchange, employment rate, something like that. So if you use this, it will help you a lot to determine what the census for the market is going to be for the day. So if there's more red, it is going to fall. If there's more green, it is going to rise. Okay, so there is stuff out there to help you guys just sort of look at this. And before you trade NASDAQ, I like to watch Bloomberg. So if you trade the 330 breakout, it's all to do with Bloomberg. You look at the consensus is to do with you can't see this. Sorry. Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Sorry. There you go. You guys should be able to see it now.
Yeah.
Okay, so this here is a heat map. So this is all the companies that make up NAS 100. So there's 100 companies in here. They're all different sectors, all different, entities. Some are larger, some are bigger. Okay, and this is where you look at, if there's majority red here, the majority red is going to lead to sells. Majority green is going to lead to buys. Okay, so obviously red is bad, which is why NASDAQ goes down. Green is good, which is why NASDAQ goes up. Okay, and these are all to do with the individual company's performance and the country that's in them. So all of these are mostly American shares. So the American shares, if the dollar strengthens, stocks tend to tumble a bit just because it has to do with the safe havens and the movement of money. Okay, so it's just about, you don't always just refer to the chart when you trade NASDAQ. It's about, there's a bigger picture to what drives NASDAQ. Okay, and it is the performance of the countries. Same with the US 30, Dow Jones 30. It's the 30 biggest companies, which some are included in NASDAQ. And this is why sometimes there's a battle between them. Okay, so back to the previous question. I have a question. How do you enter a pullback? Okay, so a pullback is basically, if you think of it, I know this example has been used a lot before, but if you think of it as running a marathon, right? You're gonna move very quickly in one direction, And then once you start running, you're gonna get tired, and then you're gonna start falling back a bit, and then you're gonna keep going. Okay, how you enter on a pullback or a retracement, is I refer to it, is if it keeps with market structure. Okay, so there's a difference between a pullback and a reversal. So you just have to identify what that pullback or reversal will signify, right? So you can see it's just where the market gets a bit exhausted. So this would have again given you another opportunity to buy. We've got the impulse. We've sort of got a pullback here. You can see this 4 hours got a big candle here. And then the other good indication is the bullish engulfing that follows it, right? So if you've got those signs, this would be the perfect time to enter the pullback. So you could either enter the pullback at the bottom, but you don't necessarily know where the bottom is unless it is on a support area. Then once it breaks that high that the previous retracement caused, then that would give you another opportunity to buy. I hope you guys can see my screen. Okay, so does anybody else have any other questions, or want me to explain something just a little bit better or a little bit deeper that you guys do not fully understand? Or do you want me to explain the entry on gold today?
You explain everything really clearly. The only thing is just when it comes
Okay,
time
so
to
what I want
exit
you
them.
guys to take away from this lesson is I want you to take away that as much as the information you have in your head is there, it's useless if you don't know how to apply it. So I know a lot of you have been feeling that is you have all this knowledge, but where do you put it? Dangas, there's literally nothing for you to see or do, but you just have to break it down. You have to start with your trends, find your zones, look for your opportunities. If it's a bearish trend, you should be looking for sells. It's literally, it's the same thing. It's, you guys have all of this knowledge. I know you guys do, but it's just, you guys have to formulate a plan, take a pen and paper and say, look for overall trend. If trend is bearish, look for sells, bullish, look for buys. Then go in again, zoom in. So once you've got your trends, zoom in. You've got a trends in trends. We're in a bullish trend, in a bearish trend, buying opportunities. If we're at the top of a bullish trend in a bearish trend, we look for sells. Okay, so that's literally as simple as I can explain it in terms of what to look for and how to look for it. I see somebody said, yeah, the third touch rule. There's your trend line. It's, a trend line is confirmed when it has a third touch. Right. So there's no point in having a trend line that is vertical. I promise you, there is no trend that is vertical like this. You'll see it eventually, it will flatten out again. How do you draw zones? So how you draw zones is you look at the history of price, right? And you look at areas where there is either bull sitting or bear sitting, right? And you can obviously see that these areas are where price reverses. So you can see we have a touch here, price reversed straight away, went to the resistance, which had formed up here. So all the sellers stepped in. It came back for another touch, but then it went back up, built momentum, and it broke through this level of support. Okay, so then it went and it found another level of support, which we can see is clearly right here, right? And it gathered momentum, it went back up, went to this resistance again, came back down, and then it shot off again. Okay, so these zones can be easily identified by switching to the line chart. So I know in the currencies course, this was explained. If you go to the line chart, you can see things a lot more clearly. So what are the possibilities for gold at the current market price? Okay, so I see an imbalance in gold right now, and it's starting to correct itself a little bit. So what I mean by imbalance is we've had a lot of bullish momentum step in, right? So now these bulls are going to start getting a bit tired. So you can see, yeah, there was a nice contestant here between the bulls and the bears. Okay, and at the end of the day, the bulls won, but not for very long, because they reached a resisting trend line, which is on a bearish on the 4 hour, as well as an area of resistance. Okay, so if we extend this out, we can see that it was broken before, but it was respected a lot more times. Yeah, it was a support, right? Support, resistance, 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 resistance. Absolutely nothing. So this is news. So the guy that asked about price action, this is news. So you can see how news blows straight through a support zone that you previously identified. Okay, so to identify your zones, you just go back to the previous price history. And at zones, do we also just enter low, high, or at the zones, do we also just enter low, high, or also looking for certain candlesticks? This confuses me when I get to a trade. Okay, yes. So if you in a bullish trend, right, and you get a candlestick that is bullish. So if you don't know what bullish candlesticks are, just literally go to Google, type in bullish candlesticks. You get a sledgehammer, you get a bullish engulfing, you get certain dojis that are bullish. It just depends. So if you can identify these at areas of support and resistance, it is another reason for you to take the trade. Okay, my motto is I always look at candlestick formations near support or resistance. That for me is the only time they are valid, is when they are at a support or a resistance zone. So what are the possibilities? Okay, yeah, we were there, sorry. So the possibilities that I think we're going to have a really big correction to the downside. We've had this bullish momentum carrying on since the 30th of March. So it's just over 3 months. Okay, so I honestly think we have a break of structure. We failed to make a higher high, and we made a higher low. So this for me is we're gonna continue back to the downside again. Okay, so you can see the bullish trend within the bearish trend. We've got higher highs and higher lows, and where price was today and yesterday, it failed to make a higher high. Okay, and then today it made a lower high. So this for me is an indication that we are gonna go down. Okay, so where I see price for gold in the next week, maybe with all the positive news that's happening in the world with coronavirus, I see us going back down to 1700, 1600. So I wouldn't be surprised if gold came all the way back down. Okay, but it's probably going to do it in a very structurally format, because I know gold likes to follow structure. You can see higher highs, higher lows, and once it broke structure, it gave you the clear indication for sales. So for me personally, I think we are going to see gold continuing making its way down. Okay, but it's just tomorrow NFP will tell us for sure. But I think tomorrow we're going to see an even bigger drop on gold, on NASDAQ. So just bear that in mind before you enter any trades. If you do trade NFP, good luck. Use risk management, okay? There's no need to be greedy. If you can make a few $100 instead of not trading, then do it. But at the same time, be cautious about it. And at the zones, do we also just enter low, high, also looking for certain candlesticks? Yes, you're looking for candlestick confirmations as with support and resistance. For proper risk management, how do you calculate position size for NAS and US30? What I recommend is you see all of these people making thousands and thousands of dollars on a lot size of 0.10 or 0.01. You have to understand how the leverage works with your broker. Okay, so sometimes the leverage they'll give you is 1-to-1, sometimes they'll give you 1-to-500, and then you'll get 1-to-2,000 or 1-to-1,000. Okay, so you first have to understand the leverage that is given to you for NASDAQ. If you can change it for NASDAQ, I would if I were you. I trade NASDAQ on a 1-to-1. I do not use leverage when I trade NASDAQ. It's just because I know the power of NASDAQ. It will blow my account before I know it. Okay, so understand the leverage that you use before trading US30, especially US30. US30 is a killer, and if you get it wrong, there's no going back. You enter too big of a lot size for your account, it's finished, right? So the correct answer for this is identify your leverage. Once you have your leverage, for me personally, I would recommend a 1-to-1 or 1-to-100 max. Okay, and it's not about making thousands in one trade. You want to consistently make profits, not just about one big one and then loss, and then a big one, loss. You want to do one, small loss, one, small loss. Okay, so take it slow. Can you explain what a setup is? Yes, you can analyze, but then how do you know you have a setup? Okay, how you know you have a setup is once price has followed what you expected to do. So then you have a buy setup or a sell setup. Okay, so today we could have seen that the setup today on gold was a sell. Okay, so the setup that we were looking for was in a bearish trend. We were at the top of the resisting trend line. with an area of resistance. Therefore, the setup for us was to sell. So the setup is basically what you are looking to do for the day. Okay, and your setup is confirmed when a support line is broken, a resist line is broken, a trend line is broken, price action formation, bullish leg, bearish flag, rising wedge, falling wedge, double bottom, double top, head and shoulders, inverted head and shoulders. So those are all your confirmations that a setup is happening. I hope that answers your question. I realize
it.
gold is easy when applying your strategies because it respects setups almost every time. Yes. So that's the wonderful thing about gold, is that it respects setups. And that's the thing people don't understand, is they try to apply such fancy things or strategies that work on currencies to this. But if you can understand the simple basic market structure, it is going to change your life if you trade gold. I know a few people only trade gold, and they do it because of how nicely it respects structure. Okay, so by using structure alone, you can identify your entry points and your exit points. Do we use the same price action for VIX? Okay, as I'm in the UK, I cannot trade VIX. So I do not know, I don't trade it. This would have to be something, another question for another mentor, but being in the UK, I cannot trade volatility index. I cannot trade boom, I cannot trade crash. So NASDAQ and US 30 is all I can trade this side for some reason. It's very strange. Okay, I hope this answered everyone's questions. If I missed any questions, please let me know. Yeah, you see, it's Yebo, somebody raised their hand. If you guys want to talk, you guys can unmute your mic and talk it if you guys want. Yeah, I'm in the UK, but I'm born and raised in SA.
Yeah.
Baba.
Yeah. What are the phases of Forex?
I've been this side for 4 years now. Yeah, I've only recently joined the GOATs. I joined as an IT guy, but then they realized my potential with charts and explaining things. I'm really good with explaining things thoroughly and in a way to make anybody understand. So
I got a quick.
yeah, why you sound surprised that I'm in the UK?
Hey, Andy.
Okay, guys. So I hope this session was help you guys. I'm gonna do another video in the next 10 minutes or so on nailing the right entry points and nailing the exit points. Okay.
Yeah, Andy,
it is quite simple. But at the end of the day, it's
what are the
just
phases
about,
of Forex?
you guys have all the knowledge. You guys just have to believe in yourself to use it. So I like some of my other students that I had before I joined FX Code was, your trading knowledge is like a person that you're trying to trust with your money. Hey, oh shit. Sorry, my headset is on. Yeah. Okay, sorry, somebody's speaking. Can you have the
Hey,
floor?
boss, can
Yeah.
you hear me?
Hello.
Hello?
Yeah. Oh, Andy, you are Andy, right?
Yes, I'm Andy.
Okay. So what are the phases of Forex? I heard from somebody. What are the phases of Forex that also affect our strategy and also our trade during the day?
Okay, so is your question, what are the phases of Forex?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, in terms of trading or the progress of a trader? So there's two contexts of this. So I know there's a strategy of the phases, but I'm not familiar with that.
Okay. So
Okay, so
somebody was talking about phases, so I thought maybe ask this question in this Zoom webinar.
okay, so phases of a market, the only phases I can think of is the impulse and correction. That's all I can think of. I'm sorry, I can't answer your question any further.
Okay.
I will do some research and maybe it is something I just know. Is it something a bit different?
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
no worries. Any other questions, yeah?
Can you hear me, boss?
Yebo, who am I speaking to?
Josh.
How's it, Josh?
Yes, sir. So on gold, your resistant trend line, do you plan on
Yeah.
taking buys when it touch, or not your resisting, your supporting trend line? Do you plan on taking any buys when it comes down, or do you plan on waiting for structure to see what price does when it gets there?
Yeah, so it's all about, I'm going to look for any rejection candles in forms of pin bars, dojis, and then that would be my next entry point is I'd looking at structure, I trade what I see, not what I feel. So I've got some minor support areas here that I'm going to extend out. So I'm going to look how price reacts, but I honestly do expect, because we have a break of structure here, we've got a higher low and a lower low. We are definitely getting a reversal, yeah. And also on top of that, got a head and shoulders, we had this resisting trend line. We've broken an area of support. You know, the only way is down for now, I would say.
Got you.
Yeah, so it's easier to trade what you see and not what you think. You know, it's easier for me to sit here and say I think price is going to go down, but I'm going to wait for the confirmation that price is actually going to do that. Okay, so for me, I would like to see another higher low form and then, you know, continue with this trend, but it could continue going back up. We don't know. So we just have to wait and see what's going to happen.
Hmm.
Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool, cool. Okay, where do you see CAD JPY in the next few weeks? Oh, this is one of those demon pairs. I don't trade CAD JPY. Okay, CAD JPY. Okay, so what I want you guys to know about the Japanese yen quickly. They refer to the Japanese yen as a safe haven for money, right? So when there's a lot of crisis, people move their money into places they know is not going to deteriorate. So like gold, a Japanese yen, or they move it into, you know, somewhere where their money is safe. And JPY is one of those currencies. For some reason, it's not volatile. It doesn't lose its value overnight like a lot of the other pairs, USD CAD, something like that, etc. But yeah, this is not a pair that I trade just because of how it moves. It doesn't flow with me nicely. But what I can see is we have, yeah, you see, we're on a 4 hour. We're in a bullish trend. Yeah, we failed to make a higher high, but then we still continued up. So, you know, for real hangers, there's literally, and looking at this here, it's really confusing, right? There's no real trend that you can go off here because it's, like I said, you don't get a trend line that is vertical, which is basically what this is. Okay, but at the same time, I do see an imbalance between what the pair is doing. If I let me just look at the weekly quickly. Yeah, so yeah, I think maybe it's going to continue going up, eh? Because this level of support and resistance that was here, I would say has been broken or is being broken as we speak. Yeah, so we'll have to see how it plays out with this 90, 92 area. It just depends how it reacts around here. And then if we go a little bit deeper, yeah, this, I don't know why. Yes, in my opinion, this pair is very hard to trade. I don't even like trading this just because there's no, how do you draw a trend line here? How do you, so for me, the basics that I know, I can't apply to this. So in the next few weeks, I want to maybe see how it reacts around the 92 mark and then go from there. You know, we add a resistance that was support. So, you know, we could break above with the retest and then continue going up with the bullish momentum that I can see that is possible. But at the same time, there's an imbalance. So we might see a correction. Okay, I'll do my analysis towards the end. So do you plan on taking buys when it comes to next year? I answered that, Josh. How do you analyze NFP? You don't. It is a gamble to trade NFP. It can go either way. And the thing with NFP, right, is you, when you trade NFP, you sort of, you can't use a stop loss, right? Because if you use a stop loss, you're going to get stopped out with the spreads and the spikes. So NFP, you'll see price is moving nicely, then NFP will hit, and then all of a sudden there's a wick to the upside, there's a wick to the downside, you know, then it will continue going down and then it comes back up, and then there's another wick. So at realistically, you shouldn't really trade it because of the wicks. So you can analyze NFP by looking at economic calendar by, so I think it is forecasted. Just go to MyFX book or whatever news site you use for currency pairs and then check the, if the census is good, then you must know it's going to be better for the economy, which means the US dollar is going to strengthen, which means NASDAQ is going to go down, gold is going to go down, etc. So anytime the dollar is strong, all the pairs are gonna fall. So AUD USD is gonna fall, GBP USD is gonna fall, gold is gonna fall. May please check what is happening on Euro USD. Okay, so USD, I've got. Yeah, I didn't catch the sales on this today. There was a little bit, but yeah, as you can see clearly. So just going back on what I spoke about in the beginning is identifying the trend and then identifying the levels. Okay, so you can see I've identified the levels nicely. We have broken a IBO gift. Okay, but hey, we can see Euro USD with the strength of the dollar. I suspect that we are gonna, yeah, we might continue up here, but we have a clear break of structure here. We have higher highs, failed to make a higher high. This is now a higher low, which is the same thing as gold. So I'm expecting Euro USD to fall again. Just looking at the structure, I'm expecting price to come back down a bit. As you can see, we were making higher highs, higher low, higher high, higher low, and we failed on this occasion here. So this is now a lower low, a lower high with a lower low. So we are going to continue down, I reckon. You know, we could be looking at sort of this area, yeah, to look for, but maybe if we could get a retest even better. But yeah, I suspect that we are going to continue going down, especially with the strength of the dollar. If you look at DXY, it is quite strong. It strengthened quite a bit today. I know it doesn't look like much, but it really did strengthen today. Yes, you got a question. You can unmute yourself. Who am I speaking to? Is it Jali? The floor is yours. Okay, I'll just move on. So the website is I'll send it Jack quickly for you. This is to everyone. That's the website I use for Nasdaq when I trade it. Okay. Can you also look what's happening with NZD USD? What is going on with this pair? What are your views on it? Can you hear me? No, I can't hear you. I heard your mic being static, but that's all I heard. Okay, NZD USD again with the strength of the dollar. I think it's gonna go down again.
Can you please show the website again?
Show the website. Yeah, of course. Let me just share my screen here. There you go. So this is the website. It's called finscreener.org. It will give you a Dow Jones map as well as a Nasdaq. Okay, so the Nasdaq moves on the performance of these 100 countries, companies. Okay, so this will give you an indication of what to expect on Nasdaq. Lots of red sells, lots of green buys. Okay, but don't just trade on this alone. Use the structure as well just to help you. Yeah, I trade the FTSE 100. I'm in the UK, so I do trade that. Today I traded a lot lower. I don't know why, but yeah. Let's just see if Yali can. Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
can you hear me? Yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I wanted to ask you, you were talking about CAT JPY, then you were saying that it doesn't go with the way you analyze
Yeah.
pairs because it's not, you can't really tell the trend and you
Yeah,
can't draw the trend line. Then I'm thinking, because a lot of us, we are kind of like, we get a little bit frustrated
Mhm.
when we are beginners kind of,
Yeah,
you
yeah, of
know,
course.
we don't know all these things. Like you just pick a pair, then you think you just fight it with and try to draw some trend lines, and then it doesn't match, and
course,
then you
yeah.
get frustrated. So I was wondering if maybe you can tell us which pairs work well with this strategy that we just learned of, like trend that go
Yeah, of
like
course.
that trend a lot, and
Yeah.
also, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a really good point. You know, you also raised the question. A lot of people just pick a random chart and they go trade it, right? So when I first started trading, I was exactly the same. I was scared I was gonna miss opportunities. I was scared that I wasn't making money somewhere, or there's a big drop coming that I wasn't gonna catch. And I was trying to focus on, all the pairs that there were. But now I've stuck to, I've got 12 pairs that I really trade. Most of them are major pairs. Some of them are exotics like USDZAR, and then the rest are minor pairs. So if you guys want to reference, these are what I trade. Okay, but I do watch 18 others. Okay, so these go from CAD-JPY, which I've just added now, GBP, NZD, DXY. Obviously, I don't trade DXY, but I use it to help me. NZD, JPY. So if you guys want some really good pairs to use the strategy on, I would look at some major pairs. So, GBP, USD, USD CAD, gold. Gold is really good with market structure. Euro JPY is also really good. This just tends to move a lot more impulsively and then correctively. Euro AUD as well. It's also very nice to trade on in terms of structure and trends. So it's just about finding what works for you. But also at the same time, because I might understand how GBP USD moves, but you guys don't. So it's just about you guys have to find a pair that you understand or that you click with that helps you analyze it a bit better, right? So for me, I don't click with CAD-JPY at all.
Oh, sorry, I would like to ask
Yes, who am I speaking to?
Idani.
Hey, Danny, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, I'm good. How can I help?
How does the DXY affect the market?
Okay, so the DXY is basically the strength of the dollar. So the DXY is called the dollar index, and it's just basically a DXY is basically the chart of America's economy, if I can put it that way in the simplest terms that I can. So basically what happens on DXY reflects on any dollar pair, right? So if DXY is showing bearish, then you must obviously know that the US dollar is slightly weak. So if I go to an updated chart of DXY, you can see this bullish candle here. So I don't know, you guys can see this, right? So this candle is the reason the dollar is so strong, right? So even though it is literally one candle, it's caused a ripple effect in the markets in the opposite direction. So if you go to any USD pair, you'll see that there is a bearish candle that sort of represents DXY. Okay, I hope that answers your question.
Oh, yes. Thanks very much.
No problem. So a good idea is if you're trading USD pairs, analyze DXY, see if it's if it's near support or resistance, and what's sort of happening, and then it'll give you a better understanding of what to expect during the week, because this moves very, very, very slowly.
Okay.
No worries. Is it like finviz.com? I have no idea what finviz is, my friend. I'm sorry. Sorry, I meant would you also look at GBP AUD? Yeah, so GBP AUD is probably my favorite pair to trade. I don't know where it is today. Yeah, so this is a really good one in terms of market structure. If I'm honest, I'll be looking for selling opportunities now. We're in a bullish trend. We're at the top of the resisting trend line, and we have reached a level of major resistance. And this is on a daily time frame as well. So yeah, I would definitely be looking for a rejection and then entering some sales here. So it just depends. If we make a higher high here, then no, we look for buys. But if we close below and we continue going back down, then we have a break of structure. So then I'd be looking for selling opportunities. So right now, even though we're in a bullish trend, we are at the top of the resisting trend line and we are at the top of resistance. So technically I would be looking for sales right now. We could have a nice double top coming, which then would indicate to further sales. Do I trade Germany 30? I used to trade it. I don't anymore because as you can see, I have a lot of pairs that I trade. So I don't look at it anymore, I'm afraid. Andy, please can the FX Code give an in-depth video on market structure? Solomon, if you want to just unmute your mic and speak, what you mean by an in-depth video of market structure? You mean everything that I've explained in this in terms of trend line, support, resistance, etc. Andy, I humbly ask, when you have time, may you create a video of your analyzing maybe 5-6 pairs? I sometimes have a block when analyzing. Yeah, that's it's very common. You know, you guys, your eyes are peeled to look for things, but sometimes you don't always see them. So if it helps you guys doing analyzing on a Sunday, I'll do a Zoom call where I do all my analyzing for the week, and then I can give you my forecast. I can give you what I'm expecting to happen. You mentioned trading reversals, so one could never look for continuation at zones. Yeah, of course. So it just depends how price reacts at a zone. So if there's rejection candles, then obviously that's your reversal sign. If there's a doji near that support area, then obviously that's a reversal coming for you. But if it breaks through, I only like to trade on the retest and then continuation, but it's just about that. Thank you, Andy. You're welcome, guys. This is what I'm here for. What app do you use for sessions if you don't have a session template? I don't use session templates. I just use the time zone that I'm in. So I'm in the UK, so I'm an hour behind you guys. So I know it's really late for you guys, but I just use the session that I'm in. And then if I'm expecting something to happen in the morning when I wake up, I'll just look how it happened in the Asian session. The Asian session is normally very slow, so there's not really big moves that happen there. What time will the Zoom session? Well, it depends if you guys want it. You know, sometimes I analyze at 6 o'clock at night, my time, which is 7 p.m. for you guys. But it's totally if you guys want it. I'm not gonna do something if you guys don't want it. And you know, I do plan on making a lot more videos based on what you guys want, not just, you know, what we want
I would
everyone
like to
to
do a
know.
live trading session with you.
You want to do a what, sorry?
A live trading session with you.
Yeah, that's something I can do, but at the moment I am working because when I came to the UK, I got a bursary to study at a college, so I'm busy paying off my bursary and working at the same time. So if I do have an opportunity, I will do some live trading sessions, but at the same time, I could do a session and I don't see an opportunity. But something I will maybe do. Is there a session indicator on trading view? Yo, I have no idea. Let me check for you. Session on chart. Yeah. I have no idea what this means, but there is sessions here.
Yeah, if
Sorry.
you text me about the sessions, I'm Josh. I got the sessions indicator, and I got the settings for everybody if they need it or want.
There we go. You see, guys, this is the thing. We all have to help one another. And I might not have something, but a student will have. Is it possible for the market to break upward? Yes. It's possible for the price not to respect structure at all. You know, you could have a bullish flag, but it doesn't follow what a normal bullish flag would do. So not every setup is guaranteed. There will not always be a successful pattern, if I can put it that way. Will you please take a look what is happening on GBP, JPY? Your indicators. Now I've got this thing on, I do not to take it off, but oh well. Okay, so GBP, JPY, yeah, it's pretty much like CAD JPY, but it does tend to follow a little bit more structure. But before, I think last month, yeah, March, this was literally just a straight line into the upside. So it was very hard. But now that we've got a clear trend, higher highs, higher lows, and then we broke this descending channel that we had formed. So this is trends in trends, bullish trend with the bearish trend. We broke that. And now we've just continued. And as you can see, this trend line was in fact correct because we've got now 3 touches. So yeah, so GBP, JPY, what I would be expecting now Yeah, so this is one of those examples where it's in between support and resistance, so there's no real indication to buy or sell. But maybe if we go into a lower time frame, we could see, yeah, no, I still don't see any trading opportunities. So I would either wait for it to come back to this resisting trend line up here, or I'd wait for it to bounce back off the support. This is one of those things where you just have to wait, because right now you're in the middle, so there's no indication if it's going to go up or down. You can remove the indicator and yeah.
Can I say? Actually, that's not the one that I use. They are different.
Okay.
So I mean the session indicators are
Okay.
different.
Okay, so do you use it on TradingView or is it on MT4?
Yeah, I also have one on MT4.
Yeah, okay. What is the one on this one called on TradingView?
Let me check the different. So
Yeah, let me just delete this.
I
one.
haven't been
Yes.
using TradingView for a while. I only use MT4
Okay, yeah,
for my.
that makes sense. Yeah, this is not something I use, guys. For me, it just clutters my chart. I can't see what's happening properly. How do you break out of a period of breaking even, bro? I take a good trade and then the trade tend to give my profits back after a few trades. So I think that's a lot of issues people are having right now is, yeah, like I said in the beginning of the Zoom, I don't know if you were, yeah, but it's, if something works for you for 4 trades and the 5th trade it doesn't, don't change it on the 6th. Just keep doing what you're doing, right? So I don't know if maybe you are increasing your lot size or if your stop loss is too big or something. You know, you just need to try and mitigate your risks. So once you're in profits, you can risk a little bit more, but also at the same time, you want to protect your profits. So Quinn, maybe if you look at the size of your stop loss, maybe that would be another reason, because at the same time, your risk to reward should be covering your loss. So to give it back after a few. So when you say a few trades, do you mean like 3 or 4 trades, or how does it work? So you make profit out of 1 trade. How many trades does it take to eat up that profit? Yeah, about 2. Okay, so that means your risk to reward ratio is right. So it's just about you just keep doing what you're doing. You're gonna eventually start overlapping your losses, right? And you're not going to be break even. You're going to be doing some small wins. So if you had to increase your R to R, it would help you a little bit more. But at the same time, you don't want to be too greedy. So do you know what risk to reward you're using now, or is it random? So I always trade a 1 to 2 or a 1 to 3. So 1 to 2 is my minimum, 1 to 3, 1 to 4 is my max. I don't go for anything more. It's called FX and Asian session range on Robinhood. Okay. Thank you. I probably won't use that, but I'll use it for future reference if somebody asks. Okay, so I hope this session was able, you aim for 1 to 2. That's good. 1 to 2 is fine, which means that you just need to up your win rate, or you need to up your R to R. And then you'll start seeing you'll slowly come out of it. And at the same time, if you're in profits and you don't see a convincing opportunity, don't take it. You know, like I said, there's always another opportunity somewhere along the line. There's literally the day after tomorrow, there's an opportunity. There's on Monday, there's opportunity. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. There's, okay, not on a Saturday, but you know what I mean. There's countless opportunities. So how I think of it is, I think of it as quality over quantity. I'd rather trade 4 trades that all hit take profit than trading 10 and having 4 hit take profit and 6 hitting stop loss. Okay, so just remember that as a tip for yourself is quality over quantity. All right. Does somebody have their hand up? Yali, do you want to speak or you fine?
Oh, I'm okay. That was earlier.
Okay, no problem. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna end this session here. I hope this was helpful for you guys.
Yeah, before we end the session,
Yebo?
do we use the same strategies for currencies when analyzing Bitcoin USD?
Your cryptocurrencies is another level. If I'm perfectly honest, I would stay away from Bitcoin at the moment because it's literally it's driven by one guy, and that one guy is Elon Musk. So it's literally if he tweets something or if they find out that somebody sold, then the whole thing is just gonna crash. So for me, Bitcoin does not follow a structure that I personally can trade. If you find something that works for you, then fine. But for me, it is just too volatile. It was like the dollar index when Donald Trump was president. You would tweet something and then papa it fell. So it's literally you just have to. For me, it's not worth trading Bitcoin. I mean, if you have Bitcoin, yeah, but don't trade it using leverage. You see, Bitcoin is suicidal right now. You see, that's literally the thing. It's so on edge. There's a knife point here, and there is no real structure you can get here because you would think that this is making higher highs, but it's not. But then you're in a bullish trend because we've been bullish for I don't know how long. You can see here what structure do you see here? There's literally maybe, but there's not enough convincing. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's just too volatile. There's nothing in stone for this. And so my personal advice, I wouldn't trade Bitcoin. Just a side
Okay,
note.
thanks.
No worries. Are you gonna post the link for the meeting now? What do you mean the meeting? You mean the recording of this? Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna render the video, then I'm gonna upload it, and then everyone will have it. So yeah, within the next 20 minutes or so, you guys should have the recording. Appreciate the help. You're welcome, guys. It's all about I want to interact with you guys a lot more than what the previous mentors have, and I want to get to know you guys on a personal level, because at the same time, what works for one of you might not work for the other person. So it's all about I want to build a relationship with you guys, and I want to know more about where you guys are struggling personally. So it's just about that. We can put out videos that will 10 people will understand, but the other 90 are scratching their head. Okay, so yeah, I hope
Sorry,
this
sir.
session was helpful for you guys. Like I said, the
Sorry.
link will be in 20 minutes. Hello?
Yeah, sorry, sir. Can you please
Hello?
tell other mentors? Do you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah. So the thing is, right? I can't force them to do anything, right? I'm a new guy at the institution, so there's not much I can do. So I'll keep putting pressure and asking them, but at the same time, I can't force them. I can't make them do anything. So for me, this is just a personal preference of how I like teaching. So it's like, I want to be your guys' favorite teacher when you come to school or something. So I will
Yeah,
ask them.
you teach everything and explain everything really good.
Yeah, I'm
It's
glad.
just
I'm glad.
it's just a matter when you wake up in the middle of the morning or night, wherever you're doing, and when you're about to get into the trade, it's hard to execute it right then and there. That's why I wanted to do the live trading, just so I can see exactly what you do and how you do it. See if I can follow exactly.
Okay. Yeah. So actually, I'm off tomorrow. So tomorrow, if NFP tomorrow, so I don't know. Okay, but yeah, in the future, I'll definitely try to do a live trading session with you guys. I think it'll be helpful for you guys just to see what I do and prepare to enter or what I don't do, etc. And then you guys can go form it that way. You're my favorite already. Don't tell them. Yeah, guys, I just want to be helpful for you guys because at the end of the day, I paid for this course as well. Believe it or not, 2 years ago, I was a student. I was where you guys were sitting, and I craved that attention from the mentors, and I craved, having a little bit more from them. So that's why I'm giving back like this. So you look scared, Andy. Let's trade NFP. Yo, I've blown many accounts trading NFP and trading news. So if I think the opportunity is right with NFP in terms of how right now I'm feeling confident that NFP is gonna cause gold and anything against the US dollar to fall. So I would expect to be maybe selling gold tomorrow. If you guys want, I'll call it in the currencies group. I'll say I'm entering gold on a sell now. but it's totally up to you guys to trade at your own risk. If it doesn't come, it doesn't come. Yes, risk management, guys. In the next session with you guys, I want to cover risk management, because in the quiz that I've been doing with you all, you guys have all been flopping at risk management. I don't know why. It's the probably the most important part of trading. You can know how to trade, but if you don't know from the risk management, there's no point in trading, because you're just going to give your money back. Trade with extreme caution tomorrow. NFP, exactly. You can walk one step, hit profit, and then the next one you're blown up. Okay. Floyd, and if I feel like the opportunity is right and I've done my research on everything, I will call it on the currency group, maybe the Nasdaq if you guys want as well. But it just depends. It might not come. I don't know. Okay, is that enough for everyone? I'm gonna end the session here. The video will be posted very shortly. Yeah, good night everyone. Hope you have a good evening. I will see you guys again maybe on Sunday when I do the next one.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
No worries. Have a good evening all. Cheers.
You too.
Bye.